The furnace, well, that has burnt around Port Adelaide all year. It might be smouldering out, but the last day of Ken Hinkley along with Travis Boak is at hand.
Let me down easy.
We know you're going to give the best that you've got for these next two games. If you're on a board in 5 years' time and somebody says, let's go with a succession plan, honestly, what will you say?
Depends if you got everything right, and we had everything right.
You said round one, this is a disaster.
Yeah, they've lived it, haven't they? Oh, I think there'll be no more relieved man next weekend than Ken Hinkley.
Glad it's here. I'm sick of the. Be honest, I'm sick of the wait. It's been a bit of a battle to get to the end.
He admitted how tiring and exhausting this year had been. So he's done a great job, but gee, emotionally, it's been really draining.
Sick of it all means that it's been a pretty challenging year when it comes to lots of things, and there's every second question coming up about it. I find it a little unfair. I wake up on Saturday morning, I'm not the coach of Port Adelaide anymore. That's been a long time, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty relieved that this chapter is coming to an end, because I think it's absolutely the right time for it to come to an end, and that's when you know it's okay. It was almost perfect, wasn't it? You've been here for long enough now. It's just something you feel. Yeah, that's what you've got to be mindful of. Where am I useful? That will be the balance. Fighting through it for too long versus keeping it. But one more might have been okay too. I miss the place. You miss the footy club, day to day. I woke up every morning for 13 years and drove here, so I'll miss that. And I've been lucky. It's such a great job with what you do. You know, you turn up and watch footy. You know, it's not all that bad. There's some parts of it that are pretty average, but I'll just miss being here. That's real. All good. Thank you. Thanks, all.
He has served with great distinction for 13 years at Port Adelaide. That comes to a close on Friday night against Gold Coast. You foretold this on our very first show together, Gaz, is how this would unfold, and I reckon to a word that is what has happened. Real or overreaction, the succession plan has failed.
Oh, no question, it's failed. And this is our last time of reflecting, because it's our job to reflect on this, and then we celebrate a man who's done an outstanding job. I think he's been a great advocate for the game. Port Adelaide have been wonderful for him. He's been wonderful for them right up until this last year. I think it's been a monumental failure, Gerard. You can only have, when it's not the coach's idea, you can only have one senior coach in the joint at any one time. That is clear. And if the Port Adelaide people are looking back on this and can come to a different conclusion, I'd love to hear how they could get to it. So this great competitor, this great emotional warrior, has had to oversee a year where they've had their worst ever year for points for and against, worst ever year for points from turnover. These are the measurements that he would count. Contested possession, which their heart and soul says there wasn't quite in it, that's their worst ever under Ken Hinkley. Worst ever clearance result, worst ever inside 50. So the board, the question to you, with all of this information in hand, do you think it's worked? Do you think you've treated him with the sort of compassion that you should have treated a man who's given you such great service by saying, look, you're not coaching us beyond next year, but you're going to stay for a year, and that bloke there is going to be the senior coach, and he's going to look over your shoulder? If you come to that conclusion, good luck.
So one pope, one president, one coach.
One coach, Gerard, at a time. That's what I'm thinking. For you, it's been really unfair on Ken.
Yeah, that's real. It's been torturous, I suspect, and Ken's too good a man for his club and he's too loyal within his job to give any more than just a hint of that. But there's been a hint of it over the past 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
I do think there are 2 commandments, I reckon, when it comes to a club and their coach. Thou shalt not expose the coach to unnecessary scrutiny, and thou shalt not undermine the coach. And they breached the second of those. They undermined him in February. I think they didn't fully grasp, and maybe they still don't. It'll be interesting in hindsight. They replaced the coach in February.
They did.
I think they thought they were going to do the right thing by everybody and see him off. No, they replaced him in February. And once you do that, replace him.
When you make a decision, make the decision. So you're not our coach. What if I win the premiership? You're not our coach. He's our coach. And you have a year like you've had, it ain't happening again.
It's a cautionary tale, I think. Port must find the emotional trigger on Friday.
Well, Ken will. I'll guarantee you that. So Ken will find it in him to get himself up, because he's a very invested, emotional coach, and we've watched it and loved it, and sometimes we've looked at it and thought maybe it's gone too far, but in the most part it's held him in great stead. So he will find the triggers to pull emotionally. and then we will all sit back and watch to see whether these players can respond one more time. No question he'll
I'll
find
do it with a hellishly undermanned team by the looks of things too.
Indeed, against a team playing for everything. For you, Ken will be in demand.
Yes, yeah. I suspect a whole lot of clubs could see a role for Ken Hinkley and would be enriched by having him there. But he is a coach to the studs of his boots, so that is part of it as well, is how do you fit him in at his absolute core, and he's done it for 30 straight years. He's done it from small towns to the big league. He is a coach to the core of his being.
Is he going to be a coach still?
I don't know the answer to that.
What do your gut feel?
I think he will probably at some point get tempted with it. I imagine the quicker jobs he'll get offered are higher up and guiding coaches, which might suit him really well at a certain phase in his life. But the inner coach in Ken will never be fully quelled. So what will that end up leading to?
Fun to watch.
I hope they see him off in grand style.
Port Adelaide people should.
Yep,
They should pack that joint out because he's been there through the good and bad, and that man there is playing his last game. So you got two of your modern-day heroes.
Ollie Wines, at the moment, is going to miss Ken Hinkley and Travis Boak's farewell game, and it's fair to say the Port coach is not wrapped with that.
I'm a bit pissy with the AFL on that one, to be honest. I'd like Ollie to be there on Friday night. Tuesday night's not over yet, is it? Maybe we can get him there.
So they'll have this case heard shortly. All right, I asked you to have a look at this and just, have they got any grounds to come from?
I can't see it, unfortunately, for Ken and for Ollie. He's falling victim to a rule that will no longer be here next year, and that is the 3 or none. So he's made contact, he ends up concussed, he elects the bump. I think that's worth half a week, Gerard.
Right.
I think he should be made to sit on the bench for this half game and come on. But we know that's not going to happen. It's 3 or none, and that's a system that Greg Swan will deal with. So this time next year, or if that incident happens next year, you go 1 at most, or maybe, a fine.
Yeah.
Hands tied right now.
The bulk of the contact is to the body, but that doesn't matter, there is some contact to the head and it's left him with concussion.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be there, but we've been wrong before.
All right, there is a case underway involving Alex Davies from the Gold Coast Suns, which has ramifications for his hopes of seeing finals action. David Zeta is following this. David, welcome.
Hi, Gerard. Hi, Garry.
How has this unfolded?
Well, the tribunal is currently deliberating at the moment, just ticked over 45 minutes, so hopefully we'll have a verdict very soon for you. Alex Davies and the Gold Coast Suns arguing that this was not rough conduct, and if it was low impact rather than medium. Alex Davies gave evidence and said that at this point in time he thought he could receive a handball. He eventually realised he couldn't and tried to get in between Angwin and Noah Anderson. He says he was bracing for impact rather than electing to bump. So it is that slippery slope again that we are dealing with. What is a brace, what is a bump, and what counts for what? He said he leaned backwards and dropped to his knees to reduce momentum and minimise the impact with Angwin. As I said, they've been deliberating for a bit now. Hopefully we'll have a verdict for you soon.